Hello and welcome. This is Little Wave from Your Stars Within. Today I want to talk about Pluto. There's a whole lot of buzz about Pluto's in Aquarius, Pluto's in Aquarius. He is, but is he? Okay, so let's talk about this. First of all, Pluto is a generational factor, meaning that he takes about 20 years through a sign. So he's really what we call the generations. The boomers were the generation of Pluto in Leo. The millennials were the generation of Pluto in Scorpio. That's why they don't get along, because those generations square. They're at a 90-degree angle from each other, right? They're both fixed. And so we are moving now into Pluto in Aquarius, which is also a fixed, it opposites the boomers. And so, yes, in 2023, we do enter the 0 degree of Aquarius. That is true. So that's all the buzz, right? March 24th, it enters, but it only stays there until June 12th. So it's really a very little dip into Aquarius. And I'd like to point out that it's the 0 degree, okay? So yes, we're gonna get little whiffs of maybe what this long transformative time period is going to be about. This is going to transform society, right? It represents that all the babies born in that time period are going to make up that generation, and then throughout their lives, how they're going to influence life will be representative of that Plutonian influence that they have on the larger whole. And also throughout that 20-year period, society itself will be transforming in the direction of this Aquarian Pluto. But we need to understand that actually right now, if we're talking about March 2023 and what's going on for us individually, right now is not very much about Pluto and Aquarius. Right now is actually much more about the end of Pluto in Capricorn. So Pluto's been going, 24, 25, 26 degree Capricorn, 26, 25, 24. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 28, 27, 26, 26, 27, 28, 29, 0, briefly, 29, 28, 27, 27, 28, 29, 0, 1, 2, right? Then maybe it'll come back, 1, 0, 29, I think is as far as it goes then. Okay, so this is a very slow moving planet. It only moves about 3 degrees a year for us. So when we're looking at how this impacts us, it being near the degrees of our planets is actually very important. And what it's really highlighting for people this year are people who have the 27, 28, and 29 degrees of the cardinal signs. The Capricorn, which is where it is, or oppositing in the 27, 28, 29 degrees of Cancer, or squaring in the 27, 28, 29 degrees of Libra and Aries, okay? So people with degrees at the very end of the cardinal signs are having their Pluto transit. They're going through a major transformation in the area that's indicated. If it's the sun or the moon, it's really big, okay? Because it's one of your luminaries. But sun, moon, Mars, Venus, Mercury, these personal planets in particular, you will go through major transformation if they're in those last degrees of the cardinal signs. That's what this year will really be about for you. It's really not about people with planetary placements yet in Aquarius, unless you're at the 0 degree, okay? Then you're starting what will be a multi-year process. You're just getting a little glimpse, just like society is, from March through June, end of March, mid-June. So it's really 2.5 months, we'll say. Okay, so what does that mean at a collective level? We're still completing the end of Pluto in Capricorn. Right? And we've been going through major transformation for the last few years. COVID was part of that, of planetary configurations to this Pluto in Capricorn. Capricorn representing the structures of society, right? The way it's been, the tradition. And Pluto is the great transformer. So we're still in many ways transforming and crumbling the old. We're still digging into the last of these traditions, these old ways, because some of that is also worth keeping. We need to understand that within Capricornian energy is the ones who hold the knowledge for the next generation. It's the librarian, if you will, that's holding that knowledge. This is how we've always done it. Now, of course, like any structured, sign, we can get caught up in, well, we've always done it this way, so we need to. But just understanding that there's a time and a place for the way we've always done it, because that is also how humanity has survived, is passing this wisdom from generation to generation. So there's kind of a finality of the way things have been, of the messages from the ancestors, of what we have learned, and maybe what we need to realize about the way things have been. For those with the 27, 28, 29 degree in the cardinal signs, you're going to go through major transformation based on the planet, based on the house that it's in, around these areas. And especially if it's the 29 degree, you're going to have major multiple transformations. The 29 degree really gets kind of worked over quite a bit. And that degree tends to signify ancestral, that this is a final degree. We count 0 to 29 in astrology. So the 29th degree is the 30th degree of the sign. It's the last degree of the sign. And so there's this ancestral, long-standing, multi-generational component that you're carrying, that you're here to complete, that does not get moved forward to the next generations. You are where it stops. And so that's what will be being completed this year. And that is a major and significant process. So us coming to the end of Capricorn, I just, I had a wise mentor who once said, goodbye is as important as hello. And I just feel the need to pause before we jump into this Aquarius next year, really. And pause with the Pluto in Capricorn and recognize that we're actually coming to a completion. And completions do lead to new beginnings. They're right next to each other, but we're actually more in the completion than we are in the very new beginning. Now we get little whiffs of things of the new beginning. We've got the 0 degree Aquarius, which we're in. I do think we're seeing an increase in societal level use of AI, technology, things like that. We've been seeing this for a while, but all of a sudden there's all these ways to use AI. So that's kind of a little glimpse in my mind. But I think society is changing. Aquarius represents community. And so over the next 20 years, I think the shape of society will be very different, coming out of what is traditional. Aquarius used to be ruled by Saturn. So we have the old rulership still there, the same rulership as Capricorn. So there is an appreciation for the past, but then there's also, which we see that appreciation in the fixed quality of Aquarius. But then we move into the technology, into the what is new, into the innovation, into the humanitarianism. So now it's time to take what was worthwhile and move forward into how society can look and be different in true community, in holding space, in caring for the earth, in returning, to what is important. And so, I think there's the potential here to see more community and, people working together, and more communal living situations. I know a lot of people have been interested in that, but I think we're going to see more and more of that popping up. And the face of what community or what society looks like will undergo a major change moving into Aquarius. But that's long, and that's over the next 20 years. For those of you who are affected this year, it's only because you have like a 0 degree Aquarius placement, or 0 degree of the fixed signs. Aquarius oppositing to Leo, squaring to Scorpio and Taurus, okay? So 0 degrees of any of those signs. Now, if you have a 0 degree planet, right, that's a wobbly planet, right? That's a critical degree. It's just kind of getting situated in a new energy. It doesn't really know what it is yet. So if you have a planet at the 0 degree, it's a kind of a wobbly energy to begin with. It doesn't quite know itself as Aquarius. It progresses, it becomes, and it learns itself as it moves forward in your life. But this isn't really a strong Aquarian energy just yet. It's really just the beginning, just the whiffs, the first kind of feelings of it. Okay, some things I want to tell you about. just looking forward, with Pluto, there is two things I want you to know. In May, while Pluto's at the 0 degree still before it retrogrades back to 29, it has a square with Mars. It's exact May 21st, 22nd of 2023. Mars goes to the 0, in opposition. It goes to the 0 Leo, and then they T-square to Jupiter in Taurus at 0 degree Taurus. So we're going to see a major burst of energy, especially if you have any planets or points around the 0 degree of fixed signs. We're going to have Mars and Pluto in opposition. So there's a lot of tension. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of action. Things may happen in the outside world. A lot of times with oppositions, we experience it as external to us, but it's still what needs to happen for us. And then, ultimately a blessing, because it's Jupiter, and Jupiter does bring blessings, but sometimes blessings are in the form of expanding something so big you can't ignore it. So this may be a time of action, a time to do, there might be some big burst of aha, and this shift into something that you need to do. We'll get a little sense maybe about what the beginning of this Pluto in Aquarius will be about as we feel that energy, because that Mars energy is going to really aggravate that Pluto, and that Jupiter is going to expand it and bring it forward. So we're really going to feel it around that time. So pay attention to what's going on in your life. Pay attention to what you're feeling, what you're motivated towards, right? Because that's Mars. And just notice what it is that you're driven towards, what the message is around this time. This will definitely be way more significant if you have planets and points near the 0 degrees of fixed signs, okay? That's who's really going to be very personally moved. But because this is a planetary configuration happening for all, we as a collective will also experience little bits of this, what the 0 degree, what this early Aquarius is going to be about throughout the next year. Now, Pluto moves more fully into Aquarius next year, 2024, in January. He does have a little dip back, actually, September, October, and a little bit of November of 24. So he's not fully 100% until he's done. That dip back, September, October, and part of November, is only at the 29 degrees. So that's why I said the 29 degrees is going to get worked over, because they have another whole retrograde on their degree in 2024. So if you're carrying a 29 degree of cardinal signs, that's an ancestral degree. There's something big and important here that is getting worked through, and it's going to take some time, and you're going to feel a lot of pressure, something deep in the self, deep in the spirit is releasing. I found therapeutically that ice and heat, like sauna or like the Wim Hof type of ice bath stuff, really seems to help people, because it's pulling from deeper in the body. And this Plutonian 29 degree is really releasing something from very, very deep in. Okay. The other major event I want you to pay attention to, or to notice if you have these degrees, if you have a 29er, especially in the cardinal signs, Pluto is going to square the North Node in July of 23, this July, okay? And that's going to really give you a sense of what's your north, what is the direction, what is this about, and where is it trying to point you to. So you're going to really, really feel this in July, and that's going to be very clear for you. You're about maybe halfway-ish through your process, maybe a little bit less. In July, so you're going to get this directionality to all this energy, because you're going to have multiple times that, Pluto is back and forth over this 29 degree all through 2024. So, this is going to be a good directional, like an arrow. It's going to help you to understand that. Also, just a little side note, the new moon of April 20th of 23 is at the 29 degree of Aries, which does square the 29 degree Capricorn Pluto. Now, technically, Pluto will be at the 0 at the time of the new moon. It will still square, but be out of sign. But so if you pay attention to that new moon, April 20th, I think that the same themes that are coming up, because that's really a beginning, right? Intentions, setting intentions, or really listening for what your higher self is trying to show you directionally. I think that theme, what you're feeling then, is going to come back around in July at this 29 degree with the North Node kind of showing you the way to go forward. So this is like step by step unfolding the information that you need to understand how to best use this energy in a clearing, transformative type of way. Okay. I think that's everything that I wanted to share about Pluto. I hope that's helpful and gives you a broader sense of what's going on. If you're looking for a more personalized reading, if you have some planets and points on these degrees, you know, a personal reading could be really helpful. Please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you as always. Please feel free to leave your questions and comments. Bye.